So to finish our discussion of length, we're going to look at conversions between English and metric systems of measurement. Okay, and so we know the English system contains inches, feet, yards, and miles primarily, and the metric system are centimeters, meters, kilometers. Those are really the most commonly used. Also millimeters, hectometers and decimeters and decameters and all those different things. But these are probably the most commonly used, to, at least for the things that you deal with in an everyday basis, right? Your centimeters are for things that are smaller in size, a sheet of paper, or the size of a table or something like that. Whereas meters, you're going to be looking at things like the length of your house, or the dimensions of a yard. And kilometers are, of course, your distance down the road sort of things, or distance from one city to another. So these are the most commonly used, I would say, and at least for your individual purposes. And so we have our conversions here. 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters, a foot is 30.48 centimeters, which is just 12 of those, right? And then 1 yard is 0.9 meters approximately, and 1 mile is approximately 1.6 kilometers. And I kind of looked at why those are approximations just by expanding these out. And if you take 1 foot to be 30.48 centimeters, and you multiply a foot by 3 to get a yard, so you have to multiply this by 3, you don't get exactly 0.9, you actually get what is it, 0.9144, okay, to be more precise, but we're just going to go with 0.9 just to keep the arithmetic simpler. And if you expand it out, you take 1 foot times 5280 to get a mile. You have to take 30.48 times 5280, and you end up with not 1.6, but it's really 1.609344. So it's not quite right. So these are approximations for a reason, but we're going to use 1.6 and 0.9 just to make the arithmetic work out a little bit nicer. Okay. So that being said, let's take a look at it. I've got 3 examples up here of conversions we're going to try using dimensional analysis. First one is we're going to convert 45 inches to centimeters. That's using just a straight conversion right here. 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. So we're going to use what we call a unit fraction or a unit ratio, kind of the same idea. And you're going to divide something by what it's equal to, or this by what it's equal to, right? So we've talked about this before. If you divide 2 things that are equal, the answer is 1. And so if you multiply something by 1, you don't change its value. So we're going to take this 45, multiply it by a strange looking number 1, and get a new appearing value, even though it hasn't changed value. So we're going to take the 45 inches over 1, create a fraction out of it, and then we're going to multiply by a ratio containing inches and centimeters, where the inches are on the bottom. You always want the inches in the opposite position here. So 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. Okay, so here's our ratio. This is our unit ratio. It's a fraction that's equivalent to 1. And so I take 1 times 45, and you'll get something equal to 45 inches, but it's going to look different now. Okay, so the inches cancel out, and we have, oops, I need my calculator for that one, 45 times 2.54, and we get 114.3 centimeters. Okay, so 45 inches, about 114.3 centimeters. Now the next one, we're going to convert 100 meters to yards. So you may have heard of a 100-meter dash, racing. If you want to do 100 meters converted into yards, we're going to use this combination here. 1 yard is 0.9 meters, and again you convert, or you change your 100 meters to a fraction by dividing by 1, multiply by this combination here, where the meters are on the bottom and the yards are on the top. That way the meters will cancel out. So it's 0.9 meters and 1 yard. Okay. We cancel out our meters, and in this one we're going to have to divide by the 0.9. So I go to my calculator and I punch in 100 divided by 0.9, and I'm going to get 111.1 repeated yards. Okay, my calculator just has a whole bunch of ones. 111.1111111. What you'll notice, or what you'll come to find out, is that the 0.1 repeated is really 1/9. So you could even write that more precisely as 111 and 1/9 yards. I don't know if that matters. I'm good with just leaving it 0.1 repeated, but that's kind of cool. And you'll probably, in my math lab, you'll probably be asked to round to a certain position, a certain place value on those. Here, if I wanted to convert, so anyway, if you were running 100 meters, you're going to be running on more than 100 yards. I want to point that out. So like, a football field is 100 yards. So 100 meters is, another 11 yards roughly longer than a football field. So basically including another end zone, or one of the end zones, I guess. So anyway, just to give you perspective on that. So convert this one to 2 kilometers to feet. So if you were to go 2 kilometers, how many feet is that? So again, now this one's interesting because I don't have a kilometer to foot conversion up here. So I'm going to have to do a double conversion at least. I'm going to have to go kilometers to miles and then miles to feet, which we know the mile to feet conversion from our previous video. So that's 5280, right? 5,280 feet in a mile. So we kind of have to use the mile as a middleman. We have to go from kilometer to mile and then mile to feet. Okay, so we go 2 kilometers over 1 times, now again I want the kilometers on the bottom, so I'm going to write 1.6 kilometers and 1 mile. And then, so that gives me miles, and then I want to multiply that by how many feet in a mile. So I've got 5280 feet in 1 mile. And again, I want to cancel out the miles so that I get this in terms of feet. So here I'm going to have to take 2, multiply by 5280, and divide by 1.6. So again, anything on top gets multiplied, anything on the bottom we divide by. Okay, so I'm going to go to my calculator. 2 times 5280 and divide that by 1.6. 2 times 5280 divided by 1.6. Just making sure, yeah. 6,600. Almost worked out too nice. I wasn't convinced that was right, but it is. So 6,600 feet in 2 kilometers. Okay. So you can kind of see now, we can do conversions, from English to metric, from metric to English, or from metric to a different English English unit than what we have comparisons up here. So lots of different ways, lots of variation here. But these numbers are going to be important. Now, on a test, I'll give you a lot of these conversions, ones that you need. Although I think there's a handful of them that I won't give you, like the the 5280 and the 3 yards and the 12 inches. Those I think I would expect you guys to know. But these here, these conversions from English to metric, you're going to need to know those. And I do want you guys to know the metric conversions with the deci and centi and milli and all those in kilometers. I want you to know those prefixes, okay? So I'm not going to be giving you those. I don't plan to. So, but I do plan to give you these 4 conversions on a test. Okay, so at least you'll have some of them.